What's up, YouTube? Y'all already know what it is. Again, I'm not going to do another introduction because, again, it doesn't seem like we need one by this point in time. We've been in this game long enough. Even if you don't know, the cards, it's right there. I'm putting it on the screen. We good? We're good? We're good? Okay, let's move on. We're going to be doing another commentary video today because I still need a little bit of time to continue doing research on Trenbolone. So until I've gotten the research done on that, we're going to be doing some easy picking commentary videos on Jubilee content. I'm going to see if the cut has anything too, but we're going with Jubilee content this week. Today, we're looking at a video entitled Whose Body is the Most Attractive? One of their ranking videos. And for those of you who don't quite know how this relates to fitness at all, sit down, don't worry. We'll have a chat. I'll loop you in. For those of y'all who are thinking, oh, snap, he's finally getting into this. We're finally going to tackle this. Yep, we are tackling this today. So for those of you who don't know what it's all about, basically, when it comes to working out and fitness, the vast majority of people who are in the gym lifting things are not doing so because they are attempting to just adhere to some ideology they created out of thin air. No, they are attempting to match a standard of beauty that has been created outside of themselves, some sort of socially constructed concept, socially created idea as to what is attractive. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're using our understanding, my understanding of that particular construct of attractiveness, of that which women or men find attractive. It looks like today we're going to be looking at men and ranking them, and we're going to be kind of discussing how this all fits into the framework of fitness and exercise. So without further ado, let's get into this video. 3, 2, 1.
I see particular body type on the internet or in the media, and I know that I want that, so I work for that.
Like when you see on social media and stuff, it's just kind of like very glamorized.
Growing up, I thought like, okay, if I want to be attractive, I have to have like 6-pack.
So I feel like I would be ranked last just because I don't really fit that type of standard.
I mean, you just get a bunch of like random dudes in a room and be like, just go out in your underwear. You expect it to be really weird and awkward.
So yeah, right off the bat, well, they admit it right from the get-go. I mean, I think y'all probably would have coined this right from the jump too. This is all based on social constructs. The idea of fitness and exercise, these aren't beliefs held by these people internally. We took this from somewhere outside of ourselves, from marketing, advertising, social media, from various sources. It's actually one of the reasons why I started the steroid saga. We'll be talking about how steroids and social media, in particular social media influencers and fake natties, play into this whole thing in its own thing. So, link to that video series now. But when it comes down to it, and we're talking about this specifically, this is just going to be kind of outlining, I guess, or at least examining how these sort of social constructs of beauty and attractiveness tend to inform people's idea of their own self-worth and where they stand in terms of their comparative ranking to each other. So I'm going to attempt to rank them, but know that when I'm ranking them, I'm going to be ranking them based on what I believe is sort of the general social, like, acceptable, like, boom, you're this, you're that, you're that, you're that, and trying to basically see through the eyes of the individuals who I think are going to be evaluating them. I don't know exactly who's going to be evaluating them, but we're going to take some guesses and just sort of try to play a sort of generalization game here and make some assumptions. I could be wrong, I could be right, but this one seems pretty easily up my alley. So let's see what we got here. We already have the men up, and we can kind of see what they look like here. So I'm going to make some calls, and I'm basically going to rank them from what I believe will be assessed as most attractive to least attractive. So my guess is, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dudes lined up here. So of course, I'm just gonna say which one falls into which category. So I'm going to put number 1. He looks like he is in first position. I think that's where he would stay, in my opinion. If we're putting most attractive there, I think he's staying there. I think that actually the dude who's 2 is gonna sit at number 2. I think he's gonna sit there. Number 3 is where things become unfortunate when it comes to the evaluation of attractiveness. Now, of course, there are going to be people with certain, preferences for body types and the like, but I think when we're looking at sort of a generalized average here, number 3, he's probably going to be last. So I'm putting it 1, 2, and then number 3, he's not going to be in the number 3 position. I think number 3 position is actually going to be, I'm going to say, number 4. The 4th guy here is going to be in the 3rd position. The reason being is that he's got sort of like a very sort of like average chill body, nothing crazy. Doesn't look like, you know, he's out here working out every day, whatever. Doesn't look like he like completely ignores himself in terms of taking care of himself and like maybe being active and, you know, living his life. But at the same time, the thing that really makes me feel like he's going to sit in that third position is the tattoos. The tattoos tend to be a pretty attractive trait, so there's a decent chance it sits him a little bit higher on the list. And then it's going to be the fifth guy here, the Asian kid here. I think he's going to sit in the fourth position. And then the guy who's in number 3, he is going to be in 5th position. So that's my guess here. We'll see if I'm right.
For this episode, we're actually going to reveal the audience ranking first.
Okay. Surprise, surprise.
Let's see how much people hate us.
Okay, pause. Damn, I would not have thought that this is the audience ranking. Okay, so the Asian kid won out a little bit. I'm not sure if that has to do with the demographic of individuals who were polled for this, but I thought the dude with the tattoos was actually going to sit a little bit higher. That being said, the Asian kid is reasonably well built in the upper body. Like, he seems like he's a pretty active guy. I mean, it's hard to tell. I'm watching this on a phone, and my phone is not like a super new phone. Nonetheless, the Asian dude, like, to me, generally speaking, I feel like he's got a half decent physique. I mean, it doesn't look like he does nothing with his time, with his life, with, you know, activity levels. I feel like he actually does get up and go and get out and do stuff. So yeah, doesn't necessarily surprise me. But yeah, this is very interesting.
I totally understand the audience ranking, because if you're looking at just physicality, not even knowing our personalities or who we are, of course we're gonna have, you know, sexy six-pack over here and, you know, me over here. Why not? I think Latinos are hella sexy, so I don't get why we're over here. Come on, guys, but I respect this. I like it. How do y'all feel?
I'm comfortable, but I don't know. At the end of the day, it's hard for me to really judge on it. I guess the audience has voted. I was expected to be probably more down the line, maybe like 3 or 4. Growing up, I was always like, you know, told like, hey man, you look like a twig, or you're very skinny.
I feel like it's pretty okay to feel comfortable when you're the 2 slut, though. You know what I mean? Oh no, this is fine. I'm the second hottest in the room. I guess I'm okay with it.
I think it makes sense for the way that, like, I think people generally view the world just based on like what you see in the media, social media, or whatever. Do I think that it makes sense for anyone as an individual? Not necessarily.
Yeah, I'm not shocked, because I mean, when I was younger, growing up, that's exactly the body type that I wanted to look like. My whole life, I like compare myself to that, so I think it's expected. So I'm not like surprised, but I did have a little bit more hope.
You guys can kind of discuss how you want to do this ranking, and then it's all up to you guys. And as you're talking, feel free to move each other around as much as you want.
I'm gonna be honest, I actually don't know where we're going with this video anymore, considering the fact that I feel like we've gotten the audience ranking already, and I guess we're just gonna figure out where they sit. So this is gonna be less about the audience ranking and more about their own ranking, which is cool, because I think this is actually gonna be more speaking to the idea that we want to see how society has influenced how they view attractiveness and like where they stand on the scale, right? I'm gonna, for that part, I think I'm actually gonna stick with my original rankings. I don't think there's any need for me to change that. So I want to see how they arrange themselves. I want to see if they arrange themselves the same way. Now, in these situations, one thing that's pretty interesting is, for the most part, there tends to be a sort of almost base requirement from the person who especially was standing at the top there. I feel like he's gonna feel this sort of obligation to be extra humble about his position, but quite frankly, I think as far as like societal standards are concerned, why would you move him? There's no need to move him. Let's not act like that's not what we're told constantly is the measure for male attractiveness. Can we not act like that's not a thing? Because that's 100% a thing. If we try to dance around that point, I think we just end up ignoring the point of this entire video. There is a standard by which men are measured in terms of their attractiveness. a bar that is set. That bar is very clear to every single male. All of us know it. Every single one of us. It's one of the reasons why the dude who was at the bottom of the ranking as far as the audience was concerned, there's a reason why he was so like, yeah, like, you're the dude I was looking at and comparing myself to. You're the body I wanted. He knows. They all know. And with that understanding in place, it's important to understand that the dude who's first place also knows, but he's still gonna have this sort of like need to be the like humble guy, no matter how he might feel about himself. He might be confident about himself. He might be feel very good about himself, but he's still gonna probably try to play that role. I'm interested to see if he does it. I'm interested to see how their group dynamic. So, you know, let's get into this to see how this all unfolds.
How do you feel about being like in the middle? Do you feel like you should be farther ahead?
Actually, I was shocked because growing up and stuff, like my mom always told me that, like, you know, you'd be more attractive if you gain a little bit more weight. That's why, like, I thought that I would be last, just because that society probably just thinks that skinny guys don't deserve love. But I feel like they do, though.
You do.
Yeah.
Dude, we love you.
When I was a child and stuff, I would always compare myself to like these older and attractive men that had abs and that had chest. I didn't even know like what I was watching, but I was kind of like just intrigued that I wanted to be that already.
Like for me, I'm not sure how old everyone is, but you know, I grew up in the whole like Abercrombie and Fitch era. Like you walk in, it's like 6-pack abs like on the wall. Like I'm not gonna lie, like that motivated me. Like I wanted that growing up. Do you, any of you guys think it's wrong to want to look like another body type?
Yes, because I feel I had a similar, thing to you, where I used to be, roughly like 110 pounds bigger, and I remember people treating me a certain way. Dating was very tough. People didn't want to, date the type I was, and then I lose all this weight, and I start getting treated differently. And it really showed me like I was the same person, and I wanted so bad to look like a certain type and lose a certain amount of weight. But in the day, like I was like, I almost kind of hate the way society's treating me as a smaller person.
That is really cool to talk about and to mention here. So it looks like the guy who was rated second least attractive, or at least within the context of like the audience rating, he used to be 110 pounds heavier. Like that's crazy. And like the idea that he once was heavier, lost a bunch of weight, noticed that people treated him differently, and has this sort of resentment for people treating him differently. The fact that he feels like it's loathsome that he's the exact same human being, but they treat him so differently just because he's not as heavy. It's a very difficult subject. The fact that he can feel such strong negative feelings towards the idea that people would treat him differently because he's a different weight. Now, does he necessarily hate people? I think he actually hates the societal expectations that created that scenario. The fact that there's a bunch of preconceived notions and ideas behind what a man should look like and what a desirable man should look like. He didn't fit that. He may have had a great personality, may be a great person, but none of that was even given the chance to be communicated to other people in a romantic context because of his weight. And then the moment he loses all this weight, all of a sudden people start taking notice of it. It's like, yo, shut up. Like I was this person to begin with. Get the fuck off of this. Like get off me, get off all this bullshit. I'm sick of that. That's not the vibe right now. There's a lot of crossover between men and women in that particular scenario, and that I think both equally do find similar problems in that particular sense, where you feel like you're judged visually and physically first before you're judged for your personality and who you are as a person and who you are mentally and spiritually and all that, right? Once you have people don't really get a chance to like get to know you because they're willing to write you off long before they even get to that point, which can be super frustrating for people. And I totally feel that. I totally get that. At the same time, is it worth mentioning and talking about the fact that we are visual creatures, and it shouldn't be criminal for an individual to have preferences in terms of what they are physically attracted to? Physical attraction is a part of a relationship. It is a necessary element to a functioning long-term relationship. So to ignore that just seems asinine. Like you need to be physically attracted to the person that you're going to be with long term. That's just a part of the whole thing. That's part of what this is. I mean, I'm sure there are arrangements wherein that doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but we're talking about like the average interaction between two individuals in a romantic context. Physical attraction is just a part of the whole deal. So you can't really separate that from the whole thing, right? It's part of it. To say that it's all of it, that's ridiculous, obviously, but it is there. It is part of it. You should be allowed to be physically attracted, to find people physically attractive, and allow that to be part of your criteria for if you want to be romantically involved with them. I don't think that should be criminal. I don't think that should be something that is frowned upon. I think if that's your only criteria, that's when we're talking about like shallow. But if it's part of the criteria, I think that's more than fair.
Well, that's definitely an interesting answer, but me personally, like if I were to answer that question, I think it's fine to want a certain body type, because for me, I just use it as fuel, like motivation. Like I'm just gonna try to drive as much as I can to get to that point.
I think for me, it's like there's a difference between it being like a motivator, something you love, something you're passionate about, and something that can like deeply consume you into like a dark hole. And it's going to that dark hole where like check yourself.
So as a group, do you guys ever like get any like criticism, or is it a lot of like self-criticism? Because sometimes your own thoughts can like sabotage you.
I think a lot of it for me is self-criticism. Like I know I'm ranked all the way over here, but like when I look in the mirror, I still see like 5 things, 10 things I don't like about myself and that I still want to change about myself.
Yeah.
So a lot of it really is self-imposed, definitely influenced by the people around you. So I still have work to do myself.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like that's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
But also surrounding yourself with individuals who like want the best for you is also good.
After I work out, so I'm like, wow, I look like the sexiest, hottest person on this earth right now. Like,
You are the
I could.
Good on the men in this for bigging each other up and lifting each other up. I like this vibe. This is a good vibe. These dudes are treating each other with a lot of warmth and affection and general like camaraderie, and I love this. This is dope. I mean, I didn't expect them to try to kill each other, but this level of like, nah, dude, you got it like that. Like, you're looking good. Get on it. Like, do your thing, boy. Like, stretch your stuff. This is great. And I don't think we could have expected this type of energy like 15, 20 years ago, but I'm really glad we can see it now. So good on them. Also, I love the fact that I want to say, I think his name is Omari, the guy who's in position number 1. He was talking about the fact that even though he's perceived as being like, you know, the attractive one and like the top of their ranking, he still feels like he's got a lot of work to do. Like the self-criticism is a real thing, and that never stops. It's an endless process of persistent self-criticism. The mountain is infinite. It always has a higher peak, and every time you think you've gotten to the peak, you look to your left or right and tilt your head upwards and realize, no, this is just like the base of yet another mountain, isn't it? Fuck. So, yeah, I feel that vibe, Omari. I feel you, bro.
I could like really date myself if I want to, but then I'm not gonna, just because like I would want to give other people the chance. But then like
Put this guy in first position.
but then like when I look back on it, like sometimes I do like have like my low days where I'm like, I look like the trashiest rat in the garbage.
For me personally, a lot of like my criticism was like projected by other people. I was plus size my whole life, so I would get made fun of in like elementary and stuff like that. They would call me like Ariel the Little Big Mermaid and stuff like that. Oh, like this kid smells, or like this kid somebody farted. It was definitely this kid. Like I think I carried that a lot throughout my life, and like I definitely want to like get healthy, but it's no longer about like being a certain body type. And you know, when I lost 120 pounds. The first thing, one of my idols, like somebody that I really idolized in my life, the first thing that I heard is like, "Oh, you looked better when you were fatter." You just gotta live for yourself and like do what makes you happy. How are you feeling about this?
Hold up. The fuck did he just say? Yo, run that back.
The first thing, one of my idols, like somebody that I really idolized in my life, the first thing that I heard is like, "Oh, you looked better when you were fatter." So it's like.
All right, hold up, okay. two things I feel like we need to talk about with this. One is the fact that somebody he idolized said that you looked better when you were fatter. What the fuck was that? What the fuck kind of comment is that? That's one of those comments that I'm like, yo, keep that bullshit in your fucking pocket. Because honestly, ain't nobody in the whole wide world got any fucking room in their life or in their fucking, in any of their spaces that they occupy for that kind of trash ass bullshit commentary coming from the deep depths of hell from which it spawned. That's the only place that kind of horse shit really comes from. The fuck kind of comment is that? This is one of the reasons why I tend to hazard people. I try to tell them, if you don't understand what an individual wants from themselves, from their body, what they're trying to achieve, if you don't understand the world of fitness or what, anything, just shut up. Just shut the fuck up. Don't say anything, because there's a very good fucking chance that you're gonna end up saying some bullshit that fucks with that person's psyche super deeply. And you can see it in his face. You can see how much that shit fucking broke him. That's not the kind of shit you just get over. That shit, he's gonna carry that shit with him. That wound will fester for a long fucking time, and he will hold on to that shit. What it ends up motivating or incentivizing him to do in his life, Lord only fucking knows. I hope it somehow manages to continue him moving on a path to being a healthier version of himself that he's happy with, that can experience a long, wonderful life with people who he loves, who love him back. But I won't lie, a part of me is thinking, if this is the kind of bullshit that person be peddling on a regular basis, I hope that motherfucker fucks right off permanently. Or it motivates you to send them to kick fucking rocks, because that person shouldn't be in your life. But good God, that's fucked up. That's super fucked up, and I'm just not okay with what the fuck that was. These are the kind of wounds that a dude will carry permanently, and that more often than not you will not see show until a moment when they're forced to encounter it like this, and either like they have to do a real big song and dance to get around it, or they gotta bulldoze right fucking through it like he just did. And Ariel, like, big ups to you for losing all that weight in the first place. 1. 2, keep living your best life. Do what you got to do to make yourself happy. And like I said, see yourself be happy, live a long life with people you love who love you back. I hope that you can find your way to making peace with this fucking terrible memory. Because, yeah, no, the person who fucking cursed you with it, they ain't it. Fuck that person. Literally for all times, fuck that person. Some bullshit. Seriously, it's fucked up. Alright, let's go back.
So it's like you can never please anybody. So you just gotta you just gotta live for yourself and 100%. Do what makes you happy and however you feel best is the motto. So.
I'm very open to being placed anywhere. I don't know which side to go on, so I might as well just put myself in position 3. Just be in the middle, maybe.
If we're ranking each other in terms of attractiveness, I'm gonna go with the people who I feel energy-wise, who I think I'd be most attractive to in like a hangout scenario.
There you go.
Like, who could I vibe in? He's like, I don't know if we can hang. We were talking earlier, so I'd put you guys more ahead, because I think in a friendship I'd be like more attracted to like, go to beer with you guys, hang out. You seem really cool, but I think I'd put you at 3. And then I am not in college anymore, and I don't remember what that was like. I don't know if we could have a ton of stuff to get along with, but I'd put you at 4, and I hate hanging out alone, so I'm going to 5.
Oh, this is tough. Eric, I think you're an awesome dude. I definitely think you should be over here. You've been like open and warm and like a fun bro. So.
What spot would you put me in though? Who are you switching?
Amari, I think you've been in the first position for a while.
I'm more than happy to move.
That's your number 1.
Oh my God.
That's your number 2.
Oh.
But I guess happy with 2. And then one more.
All right.
I'll put myself here.
Perfect.
Oh, this is weird.
Talking like non-physically, I think personality-wise, there are definitely people in this group that I think, much more, open and outgoing in a way that like I wish that I could be. A lot of my confidence is rooted in my physical appearance, and I will be very honest with that. But I'm actually gonna go to a 3. Avi, I think I will put you at a 1. Eric at a 2. And then Ariel at a 4.
I'll put myself last just because I feel like I'm more like laid back and reserved, and like I don't really like take the initiative as much.
We're nearing the end of this video, but I think it's super interesting that this turned into a vibe check video. So it's basically like, which people do I vibe with the most? And that's a really cool way to rank each other here. And I think it's funny because like when you say attractiveness, people immediately think physical attractive, like they think physical attributes. These guys went, fuck that, ditch that bullshit. How do I feel about you guys? What kind of vibes do you give off, and which one of you guys would I be attracted to hanging out with? I really like that. I think this is really cool. And it provides a very different spin to this whole thing. Very different than I thought we were gonna end up with at the end.
You kind of feel like the neutral stance of like being like introvert but also extrovert too. Also because like you kind of stand the ground between the skinnies and also the thickies as well. I would actually put Ariel at number 2. Eric, you're number 1 just because like you embrace like your body no matter like what anyone else thinks. And I feel like that's the type of like mentality I want to have no matter what.
I loved that. That was beautiful. That was great. I feel so warm.
Thank you.
Okay, are you guys happy with this? Want to make any last changes?
I'm stoked about this. I'm totally okay with this lineup. I won't say no.
Based off of like how well I got to know each and every one of them, in that sense, I do feel like it was a good fit. I don't know. It's hard.
I acknowledge that attractiveness isn't only physical. A lot of it has to do with personality, how you interact with other people, how you make them feel. I know that there are things that I want to work on, which is why I bring to myself at a 3. But then there are other people who I felt outshine me.
So I think the most beautiful thing is just, it's your uniqueness. So just own it. This is what you have. This is what you have to work with. And there's nobody else like you.
So final thoughts, wrap it up, huh? Yeah, I like how this video ended, that it ended up being sort of a vibe, just like, which one of us has the vibe that I think that is most approachable, most that I'd like to hang out with the most, and like, that was really cool. It meant that my rating was fucking obliterated, and I am so okay with that, like you couldn't even imagine. So yeah, fuck my ratings. I'm glad that they ended up being useless as fuck. They were kind of right when it comes to like how like the audience ended up rating them. If we're gonna be 100% honest, what else is the audience going to rate them based on? It's not like I don't think they had a chance to like sit down and listen to them like interact with each other or talk with like the camera or whatever, or tell their story or something. I don't know, but like I don't think they got the chance to do that. I think they literally were given pictures and told to arrange them. So, with that in mind, what else were they supposed to rank them on? I'm still surprised that they didn't put the tattooed guy up higher. Maybe it was the beard that threw him off, or the hat. I don't know. Point is, I thought he was gonna rank a little higher, but he didn't. And I'm wrong about that. That's cool. Can't win every single one of them. But yeah, I like how this all ended up being more about the guys feeling out each other's energies, as who they were as people. And I think the ranking of how it went there, I thought that was a really cool way of kind of laying it all out. And I think it actually fit quite well, because I think that the guy who ended up being in that first spot, he had a really great energy to him. Right from the get-go, he had a really like sort of bright, sort of chill vibe to him that, he definitely seemed to command attention. Not from like a sort of douchebaggy, I'm an alpha type energy, but more of a warm, I want to like hang out with you, have a beer, kick back, tell stories, shoot the shit type of energy, Anyhow, that brings us to the end of this video. Pretty good video from these guys, another entertaining one, so I hope that I can find more like this. There's another one that I have lined up for them. It's a bit longer, so I'm probably going to tackle that one next week or the week after. We'll see how scheduling goes. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you found it entertaining, useful, informative. Hope my tirade about deep emotional scars either resonate with you or didn't fully throw you the fuck off. But regardless, whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know if you found any other videos from like the Cut, Jubilee, any of those types of YouTube channels where like they do sort of stuff like this, and you want me to do commentary on it. Please throw them in the comment section below. Let me know. And of course, stay shining, because the galaxy can only be a bright and beautiful place if we all shine together. Peace.